Hi, this is Kane Hodder, better known as Jason from Friday the 13th, Victor Crowley from Hatchet. You are listening to Midnight at the Monster Museum. Keep listening, or I'll kill you.
Welcome back, guys. This is Tom Devlin with Midnight at the Monster Museum. Season 2. Who can believe that we made it this far? Back to my rants when I said we would never make it past episode 6. Here we are. Alright, so I have a very special guest. For you guys that don't know, I'm on set this week, finishing up a little movie called Blade the Iron Cross. Blade being the spin-off of the Puppet Master movies. And with me today is John Lechago. John Lechago is the director of Blade the Iron Cross. He is also a director that I have worked with, God, I don't know how many times.
Let's count. Okay, starting Bioslime.
Bioslime.
And then 3 Killjoy. Actually, on set, 2 Killjoy.
On set, 2 Killjoys, but I made everything for Psycho Circus, so we're going to call that 2.
Okay, let's call that 2. So 3
Feast of Fear.
Feast of Fear.
So that's 5.
Something else.
Well, you've helped us on Halfway to Hell.
Yes.
And
Halfway to Hell.
You did some digital effects for me and my wife on the Trek. Adding some blood to John Carius.
Yeah. Feels like a bunch of other things, too. Here and there.
I mean, we're part of a very small community. Yeah. We are part of the micro budget community.
Right. We did a lot of extensive work, pickup shots on Axis Termination.
Yeah, Puppet Master Axis Termination.
Yeah. So
it's been several films. And so what we're going to do is first, I'll talk a little bit here real quick about how we met, because it's one of my favorite stories. I tell so many people. And then I will I'll let you delve in. I want to hear how you got to where you are even before we met, because here's the thing. Directing the Blade movie is a big deal because that's a franchisable character that people own action figures of. There's comic books. I've seen tattoos on people. This is a kind of a cool thing. Yeah. And to get there is it's a journey that not everybody can make. You know, it's really hard to earn the respect of Charles Band. It's very hard to break into the Full Moon family. And it's also hard to continue to create really good content while being part of all of that craziness, you know. So I met John many years ago, and I would say it was probably 2007 or 8.
Even earlier? I want to say earlier.
I don't know. When did Magus come out?
Magus came out 2006.
2006. So I probably met you in 2006 because it was right after Magus came out.
Yes.
I was at Fangoria Convention, the last Burbank Fangoria Convention.
Yes.
And I had a table there for a movie that me and my wife did called Legend of the Sasquatch. Wow. And you were in the same room, just across and down a little bit with your movie Blood Gnome.
Blood Gnome and Magus.
And Magus.
Yeah,
Magus had just come out.
Turning Point Films.
Okay.
Yes.
And I remember I walked over to you, and I had seen Blood Gnome. I had not seen Magus yet, but I had seen Blood Gnome.
Yeah.
And I was so excited. I was like, this guy made that movie. So I walked over and I said, man, I loved your movie Blood Gnome. I'm an effects artist. And you said, I did all my own effects. And I said,
oh, no.
That's awesome, but maybe I could help you sometime. And this is my portfolio. And I handed you a book. It was like a dollar store portfolio with photocopy pictures in it. And you thumbed through the whole thing and made comments because you're very artsy. You're an artist, and you understand composition and color. And you also knew makeup effects. You know, you could tell stuff. Yeah. And you're like, oh, this is very cool. This is cool. And then I gave you a card, and I don't know if I gave you a demo reel or anything, but we exchanged numbers.
Yes.
And that was it.
Well, Yes, but here's the funny part. Here's where it gets weird, and we have to remember this because it is a little bit weird and bittersweet and just like, what the fuck was that? Oh, can I say that on the podcast?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, so I lost the number because of craziness, and I'm ADD and weird and all over the place and stuff. And serendipitously, and in a weird way, we had a mutual friend. I keep on forgetting his name, but it was Vinny Belancio's friend. That you were doing a work
J.R. McGarity.
J.R. McGarity, who's
not a mutual friend.
No.
Whoa. Mutual con artist. I was not friends with J.R. McGarity.
No.
He conned me into working on his movie, though.
Yes. No, mutual friend, me and Vinny's, but actually more of an associate, because I knew he was a weird dude. He
was weird, and maybe made the craziest, zaniest movie that I thought would never get released. Oh, man.
And it didn't. You don't think? Did it?
It came out.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It came out. It was called Night of the Flesh Eaters.
Yeah.
And what an experience that was. Oh, man. That's a whole nother podcast.
That is. Okay. And but I just wanted to remind you.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Because in my story, I changed that to you kept my card.
I don't keep cards. I just work, I think, by serendipity, which is great and terrible at
the
same time.
But even so between the time that I met you and you called me was almost a year, and it was I didn't think you ever would have called because you did your own effects work and you had worked with another artist that helped you with Blood Gnome,
and he burned me, and that's what gave me a bad taste in my mouth.
So I personally was like, well, that was just a cool guy that made a cool movie and our paths crossed. That's awesome. But then I get this phone call, and it's like, hey, Tom, I don't know if you remember, but I'm John Lechago. And I said, yeah, man, you made Magus. Because at that point, I saw Magus. And I am a huge fan of Julie Strain. So you had used her in Blood Gnome.
Blood Gnome and Magus.
And Magus. And her sister as well.
Yeah.
And so I had seen Julie. I saw Magus because my wife at the time was working on Hollywood Video. And... and I loved it. So I didn't have a way to reach out to you and tell you how much I liked it until you called that day. I was like, I love Magus. Yeah. And you were like, oh, cool, thank you. And I don't know if you had even remembered that I had said, I love Blood Gnome, when I first met you. So at this point, I love 2 of your movies. And then you are just like, hey, I'm making a slime movie and I could use a hand.
Yeah, because I definitely figured out, I quickly got in over my head on doing my own effects, and I was like, fuck it. And then I heard what happened with J.R. McGarity is I heard, first I knew his shoot would be tough, and I heard it from Vinny and stuff, how basically you were fucking kicking ass, and stuff. As frustrated as you were. Which I also heard.
That was a con.
Yeah,
I got conned.
Pretty much, yes.
He told me one of my close friends at the time was producing that movie. And of course, I'll do any work for friends. And so I signed on to do the creature effects.
Wow.
And my friend wasn't producing that movie. He auditioned to act in that movie.
Wow.
And he got the very smallest role. He wasn't even a lead. It was the weirdest con that I've ever had. And me and Jay, the guy that it was, we still will, if we ever run into each other, talk about the Flesh Eaters, because it was crazy. And then I brought John Carius and this guy PJ onto it.
Oh, wow.
PJ, who shot the Trek, and John Carius, who is an all-around filmmaker. And the entire LA forest caught on fire, and we had to put it out with 2-liter bottles of soda. It was madness.
Wow.
And JR, the director, slept in his car the whole time while we made his movie. It was...
Yes, that's what I heard.
Yeah, he's a con artist. But
I did get your number from JR.
And that's how I could tell you everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
Everything. Because from the moment that I handed you that card until the moment you called me, there was going to be a time that we would connect and it would work out, because artistically, I feel that our work complements each other.
Yeah.
We've worked together several times now.
Yes.
And it wasn't that first day on Bio's Night. You were like, can you help me for a weekend? I just need a weekend or 2. Yeah. And I came in and I helped with some slime. You're like, yeah, I really need to make a creature suit. I was like, I'll make you a creature suit.
Yes.
And I went home and I built this creature suit.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden we're building slime hordes and
oh yeah, that slime wall was awesome.
And so with BioSlime, what was the inspiration to it? What made you make that movie?
Totally have an answer to that. No, but I also want to point out, first time I met Tom Devlin, came out of the show, it is ingrained, that picture in my brain, is that this dude had like Frankenstein and cartoon character tattoos on his body, and first thing I think is this guy for real? Which is not a criticism. I just like, oh, no, really, is this for real? And I found, yeah, he's fucking for real. This is a fan. This is a geek. So really,
it was also a little bit before it became so common to see every dude with whatever their passion is tattooed all over them. It was one of the earlier like geeky tattoo. Like, I'm not a tattooy guy, but as a younger guy, I totally expressed myself of and around horror movies in every way that I could.
Yeah, and He-Man.
And He-Man. And that is that's true. And it's weird now for me to walk down the street and see these young people just covered with tattoos. I'm like, what did you do? But at the same time, I did the same thing.
Yes.
I got neck tattoos when I was like 20.
Yes. So, and I remember that clearly. And I remember thinking, is this guy for real? And then quickly understanding, yes. So that was very, very, very cool. And I tell people that all the time. I
remember a weird comment that first meeting about the tattoos. You said, man, I love your tattoos. And my sister would love them too.
Yes.
Which is a weird thing to remember from a first meeting.
Yes. That's funny.
But that's what was said.
So now to answer your question about inspiration for BioSlime. So I decided to make my first self-produced movie, completely self-produced with some money that I had saved up. I thought, and unfortunately I was misguided, I thought easy creature would be a slime creature. We just make up some slime and stuff, and then this is how I quickly got in over my head. Because I made little test bits of slime. Now it's super popular. I have young kids, and they love slime. There's slime kits everywhere.
Does it give you nightmares that your kids are making slime?
Yes, now? Yes. It's like
you never thought you were gonna have to do it again, or smell
stuff.
It again.
Yes, and this is.
I have the same. I have NAMM flashbacks. I'll come out on a Sunday morning. My kids are having slime time, and I'm like,
yes.
Oh my god, it's BioSlime.
Yes, but the kids these days, they have, different colors of slime with sparkles and this and that. And just go, no.
You gotta go black.
That's nothing.
It's all black.
So what we did was we got in powder form polyvinyl acetate. Which is basically powdered glue.
Yep.
And you mix it up with hot water. You take an electric grill and you mix it up, let it sit overnight. And then you add your borax to it.
Yep.
And you get this really... And we made gallons. Buy the 5-gallon bucket of this stuff. And we would make it really thick. You add more boric acid, and it becomes really, really thick. And I said, yeah, no problem. This will hold up and stuff. And little amounts of it, sure, basically melts really slowly in your hand and everything. I thought I could work with it. But once you start making gallons of it, by the time you're ready to roll, you set it up. By the time you're ready to roll, it's already on the ground.
Yep.
It's amazing. So I thought, oh, okay, now I'm in trouble. And then that's where I needed help. I was like, oh, hey, Tom,
we started putting spider webs in it.
Yes.
I remember putting the spider webs in it, and it was awesome because John is such an artist that he had a vision of these like monsters and the asymmetry to them and what we were. Like, that was my favorite thing. I showed up, and he's like, this is what I want. This is what I want him to look like. Can you do this?
Yeah.
And then I was like, yes, I'll do that. That'll be the best thing ever.
Yeah.
Actually,
I drew a picture of the creature head, and then Tom Devlin sculpted it exactly.
Yeah.
And I thought it was awesome.
With the eyes, the like 6 eyes on one side and tentacles on the other.
It was exactly it. Then that's the last time I drew a detailed picture for you.
I know, I hope for it every time.
No, but I don't do it anymore. I just draw a very simple creature because I want your creature and stuff. But that was
I know that, but I love to make your creatures too.
This is a better collaboration now because then when we did Punchy is one of my favorites as well. I actually only gave you references.
Yeah.
And then you sculpted Punchy, and then I drew him.
Yeah.
So got you.
That worked.
But yeah, so back to the reason doing the slime. So I was very misguided by that. Then I went back and watched the Blob movies all over again and realized, oh fuck, they're using rubber tentacle type stuff and forms and everything. Basically, they're doing the things that we made up as a solution to the slime being on the floor and stuff. So that was an interesting lesson in just being a little bit more aware of what your models are. But it still was a lot of fun. We built I guess you called it a slime fort and stuff, which is kind of a funny story because, we unintentionally got bombed. How would you describe it? It was terrible. We just kind of unintentionally sniffed glue.
Yeah. No, I mean, it was, we glue everything with barge glue.
Yes.
Which is super fumey. And yeah, it makes for a lightheaded. We had to take some air breaks a couple times.
I didn't realize that we were kind of getting hammered, but because, we work with barge glue when you're doing small projects, not a big deal. But we're actually barge gluing
like walls.
It's just tentacles and rubber and all this stuff and foam rubber to canvas sheeting and stuff that we hung up. It looked great, but yeah, we're getting kind of buzzed.
I had a half pipe skateboard ramp in my old effects shop, and we lined it all with like the walls and put tubing all over it, and you can never tell in the movie it was a half pipe. It just looks like
And we set that up twice.
Yeah.
Was it almost 3 times?
Yeah, the one time we brought Victoria over and hung her from the...
but that was in Nick Melillo's porn studio.
No, we hung her up from my scaff. I had a lighting grid above the roof.
Oh, was it yours?
Yeah, there's that picture I just posted of you and the slime monster of Ty.
No, that was Ty we did in your studio, but
Victoria, did we hang him?
Yes, we
hung him up.
Yeah, Victoria was in Nick's.
Was in Nick's, okay.
And then we did it again with Ty in your studio.
Because I know it pulled my lighting grid out of the ceiling. Like there was cracks.
That's Ty. Victoria doesn't wear anything.
Yeah, it was Ty. Lose some weight, Ty.
That's right. He's actually relatively, he was like maybe 150 pounds.
Yeah.
And stuff.
Yeah,
but Victoria weighs 90 pounds.
Yeah.
And stuff. But yeah, that was, and then, so we did one setup like that, and then another
So
setup.
your inspiration for the Bioslime was that you thought it was going to be easy?
Partially yes, and partially I loved the slime creature from Creepshow 2, the one that was in the lake. I just thought that was a black slime creature that was kind of oily.
Yeah.
And also you had that the tar zombie.
Man in Return of the Living Dead.
Yes. That was so cool. That's what I was thinking about, and just having victims covered in that. So there was some aesthetic stuff to that, but of course I was also thinking, what could we do that was easy? And then it just kind of went overboard from there. But the results were great because we have some great, for especially a micro-budget movie. Should I tell them how much I spent on it?
Yes,
okay. Sure. All in, basically, it was about $14,000.
Which is nothing.
That sucks.
Which is nothing. Most films if I got a film with the effects list that you had in that, and the creature suits and the changing of the suits, if I had that right now, there's no way I would do the effects for $14,000.
No.
So that's killer, man. I never knew how much you spent on it.
Yeah, we did. That was.
You must have paid the cast members though.
Most of them work for free.
Wow.
No,
because there's so much nudity and.
Oh well, the
that's
nakeds
not
we paid.
Normally cheap.
We always pay the nakeds and stuff, but they were really nice and basically friends of Vinny Belancio, who is a sweet talker and stuff. Mostly because he's not a creep, and was friends with a lot of these porn stars and stuff who just wanted to be in a movie.
One of them I ended up taking under my wing as an assistant for a long time, and then her husband at the time has become a long time friend. You know, I don't know which name to call him, but we'll just say Tommy Pistol.
Yes, good enough. Good enough.
But yeah, I mean, he's become I work with him almost every month, and we're buddies, and that all goes back from Bioslime.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah. So Bioslime, yeah, it has some great visuals. The what made it cheap was basically
you owned your camera. That helped.
I bought a camera and stuff, and I shot everything. So we were our own crew, and I worked with Vinny Belancho, who is also a micro budget specialist, and I hope we get him back someday and stuff. But this is a long time ago now.
Yeah.
And we just did a little bit of everything. We didn't have a professional audio person stuff. We just whoever was nearby said, "Here, hold this boom mic." No lavalier mics. The lighting, 50% or more of the lighting was clamp lights.
Clamp lights, yeah.
Yeah,
gels.
With fluorescent gels with fluorescent bulbs in there when they first came out. The first fluorescent bulbs that did not
flicker.
Yeah, exactly, flicker free and stuff. So and we just moved fast. I think that was I missed that a little bit.
I miss the camaraderie of making movies on the weekends and just looking forward to it and having so much fun instead of it being like, oh my God, I gotta pack all that, I gotta go do that. It has changed.
It does.
But and also that like I didn't care about money on that movie at all. And you handed me a couple dollars when you had it, but I never asked and I never wanted it.
Yeah.
What I wanted was that to prove to you that I could be your effects guy.
Yeah.
Because also I knew that John was doing bits for Full Moon, doing digital effects for Full Moon, opening titles and stuff.
Yeah.
So I was like, my goal in life was to work for Full Moon, and you were doing it. And I remember I was such a fan of John Beekler. He's my hero of all time. And you had done the opening credit stuff with him or worked on Ginger Dead Man 2, which I absolutely adore that movie. It's one of my favorites. And then you got a
John Beekler work of art.
So that's the part of your floor set for the movie was painted these checkerboard floor, and I'm picking it up and I was like, there's a photo, there's a drawing of a Ginger Dead Man coming out of a storybook on the back of your floor set that we've been stepping on and spilling slime on. And it's an original John Beekler piece of artwork, and I'm freaking out. But this is the saddest part. I don't have that anymore.
Oh, no.
When I left LA, it got lost. I have no clue where that ever went. I hope someday I open some box, and there it is in the bottom.
Yeah.
Because he's my all-time hero. Yeah. And to have that piece of original artwork that I found in your set, part of your set.
That's also part of your movie too.
Yeah.
That's all hilarious.
It's crazy. But at the end of the day, I wanted to work for Full Moon. I wanted to prove myself to you. And we all became such good friends. Al Burke, Ty, me, you.
Mr. Outrageous. You got to call him Mr. Outrageous.
Yeah. And of course, Gia and Tommy, and it was an awesome time.
Yeah.
Amazing time. And I think back about that. I think about having Carius there, because John Carius used to do everything with me. He was like my dog. He'd come with me everywhere I go, and he would come and hold lights or the boom, and I had Nooch, my old assistant, on there sometimes, and
yes. Oh, and sorry, your other assistant, the
Kazu. Yeah. No, it was what a fun time.
A lot of that crew then ended up working with us for years and years. That's true. And even including still like even people didn't work directly, because your roommate Vince has finally worked with us on the film. This is great. We'll get to Vince soon, right?
Yeah.
This is right after. Okay, cool. This is exciting. Okay, that's coming up. That's coming up. But yeah. So the after that, the opportunity came for me to finally direct a film for Full Moon, and it was Killjoy, which was an Killjoy 3. And basically, I don't remember who was mentioned, but I kind of jumped on that opportunity to say no.
So they had an effects team already in China.
Yeah,
is
so
what it was.
okay, you
And
yeah.
so when you got Killjoy 3, they were doing movies back to back, Puppet Master, Axis of Evil, and Killjoy 3.
Right.
And Puppet Master, Axis of Evil, Gage Munster, great artist and one of my colleagues for a long time, he was working on that Puppet Master movie.
Yeah.
And he had done a couple Full Moon movies before that.
I did not know that.
Yeah, he did Skullheads.
Oh, he did?
And he did Demonic Toys too.
Oh, okay.
So,
I did not work on Demonic Toys too. I did work on Skullheads, but when we were doing Skullheads, it was another effects artist whose name I forget.
Oh, okay.
Kind of older guy with reddish hair.
Chris Berkschneider.
Chris Berkschneider, yes. Yeah. That we did insert shots with.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Gage was already in China shooting Puppet Master.
Yes.
And of course, Full Moon is not always, they're very good at saving money. And they also had, there was some Chinese effects people there.
Yes.
As well as Michael Denintz, who was an effects guy helping out over there. So Charlie had told you that they already had an effects team. And you so like out of the norm for most people in Hollywood said, no, I have a guy, you know.
It's like, this is the guy that's going to do it.
And that was awesome because I had met Charlie several times and I had pitched myself on him.
I did not know that.
Probably 100 times.
Okay.
And of course, Charlie, when he meets you, cool, dude. Oh, awesome, cool. And he's super nice, super genuine. But he has a team, and it's very hard to crack into that team.
Yes.
So when you stuck up for me like that and said, well, this guy could do it, and then you kind of threw him a bone, and you're like, he's also really good friends with Trent Haga, which I had known Trent for years, and Trent played Killjoy in Part 2, and you had originally wanted the original Killjoy, but nobody could find him.
Yeah, we could not find him,
so,
which is a little bit sad, but, you know.
Yeah, but then the fact that Trent had played him in Part 2 and I kind of had a connection to him, I think that swayed Charlie's opinion a little bit.
Maybe it did, although I kind of, even before it was going to be that we really knew that we could get Trent, though I was pretty adamant, it's like, no, we have to do it with Tom Devlin, because I also had other ideas, you know, it was more than just the... just Killjoy's makeup. I wanted punchy and freak show and stuff.
The posse.
So,
one of the posse.
The posse, and I knew, you know, it was 1313 effects. You know, was the way to go.
Yeah. Well, and that movie came at a time where my effects company was booming. We were kicking ass.
Yeah.
We were doing a movie a month or more, and that was awesome. I remember finishing a film, 2 days later, going to China to work on Killjoy. The day I got back, I packed my truck and went and did a Ben Cooper movie in Santa Maria, California called Primitive. Like, like without stopping, without sleeping. We were so packed with work to do.
This is before we had kids.
Yeah, it was before we had kids
together, but
but
they're close to the same
very
age.
similar.
No, I know. That's awesome.
But no, we did. It was so weird to go all the way to China for Killjoy 3 and be in a set that looked like the Old West.
That was weird.
Or
but not a normal Old West set. Yeah.
But it was like you go all the way to Asia, and I didn't see any of it. They wouldn't let me leave the studio. I was allowed to be chauffeured with you from the housing unit to the set, and from the set back to the housing unit, where everybody else could go out and eat or go to Walmart. They're like, don't let the tattoo kids out of our sight. We'll never get him back. And they never let me leave. I was like a prisoner.
You're too weird to let out into public.
It was so strange. I remember Alan Ty going to Chinese Walmart, and I wanted to go. And I told Henry, I got to get some toiletries and stuff. And he just pulls this generic stuff out of his drawer. He's like, here's a toothbrush.
That is weird.
It was the strangest time.
Yeah. Henry was the owner of the studio, and it was his own private project. That was a weird experience.
It was very weird.
Well and stuff. So
it was so well. One of the cool things about before we get to China, the cool thing about Killjoy 3 was you did revitalize the series. You rewrote it. You gave it lore. You made it all make sense, and you brought part 3 goes right back to part 1.
Right.
And that was so cool with Michael and his, the kid that conjured Killjoy in the first place.
Right.
And you gave reason to all of it, and then you gave the posse, which just was like Pinhead and his Cenobites, but it was Killjoy and his, crew, and it worked so well.
That was completely calculated.
Yeah.
It's like I know. It's like,
what you did was you took a bullshit franchise and took it seriously and made something so incredible out of it.
Yeah, although I always give credit to the original creators and stuff because I know how tough and what circumstances they did it under. And so, which was, I think it was even less money than we had.
And they shot on film, I think.
No, they did.
They shot on video?
I'm 99% sure.
I don't know.
And stuff. It was video.
It was at Lacey Street Studios. I could tell. Most of it was shot there.
Yeah.
The makeups look good in the first one. And Mark Bautista, who did the makeup in the second one, looked really good.
Yeah. And so, I understand the problems. And they actually, so I think they did an incredible job in just finishing the film. So I give them kudos. They created great character and stuff. But I think they were still constrained probably by circumstance and certain expectations and stuff.
Always.
Absolutely. I think what we were lucky in was that we kind of pushed it a little bit further.
Yeah.
And thankfully Charles Band let me push it a little bit further and a little bit newer space.
He kind of left you alone with it.
Well, yes, which I was really fortunate that I was, as a first-time filmmaker for him, I had two things going for me. First of all, thank goodness, Stuart Gordon gave me a great plug.
Right.
And stuff. And then after Charlie saw my work with the visual effects, he trusted me visually and stuff. So that was good. But the second thing was we were in China and Charlie was not going to follow us there and stuff. So we kind of went there and had a run of the place and stuff. And we had a great Chinese crew helping us. I probably I'm obligated to say, especially the head of the art department at the time.
Who you ended up marrying.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I stole her from the studio. And then later, Henry said, yes, it was probably my most talented employee. I go, well, damn right.
But the crazy thing is, she hasn't gone on to do art department for you in your films.
No, it broke her. No, or anyone else. She's like, no, screw that.
She doesn't want to do it. She has no interest in it.
No,
she's such a great artist.
And stuff. Yeah, well.
And she was so fun. So when we got to China, there was only a handful of us that spoke English, and it was me, you, Trent, Al, Ty, Victoria, a couple of the kids that were in it.
I think we brought over 4 cast members.
Yeah. So, but then the whole crew spoke Chinese.
Yeah.
And I remember that I thought I was going to be kind of proactive, and I decided to learn the language before I got there.
Yeah.
But I had learned Cantonese rather than Mandarin.
Yeah.
And so when I got there, most of them spoke Mandarin. But it was an even mix, maybe.
Yeah.
But I'll never forget that your wife, at the time, we called her Enos, because they all picked their own names, their own American names.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But Wang Yi, she was the nicest to me. And through our broken languages, we learned how to communicate together, and I thought that was so cool.
Yes, that got you big props and stuff to learn the local language there, because we were in the Canton area in Guangdong.
Yeah,
and so that was great. That was got you. Oh, awesome! That's some more than I know. So because my wife's English now is just too good. And stuff. It's done.
I love it. Yeah. I love it, and I still, if I sit down at a restaurant, I'll try.
Yeah, awesome. That is great.
I never know if I'm being rude or not, but I try anyway. And I do.
Absolutely love it.
I always say,
Oh, see, that, already more than I know. No, that gives you great, big points. So the makeup and art department, or actually especially art department, loved you real quick.
Right.
So they go, okay, cool. We respect this guy.
Well, that was crazy too, because that was the first time I got there, and we were on a big studio. It was big sets, tall sets. It was very cool. But you're like, listen, we need help with the art department as well as all this makeup. And if you could just help them know what to do, because they've never done this.
Right.
And that was, that was tough because as an effects artist, sure, I'm creative and I know effects and stuff, and I do know how to build some sets.
Yeah.
But telling other people what to do that have the broken language barrier, and also, like, I mean, you have to explain it to the T. Because we had these two guys. I remember Minnie and Master Lee.
Master Lee and Minnie Lee. Yeah.
These guys would build anything out of wood.
Yes.
They made refrigerators out of wood. They made stoves out of wood.
Especially
They built a car. They built that ice cream truck out of wood.
Yeah.
But the thing is, if you didn't tell them exactly what you wanted, what side the handle's on, it would look completely bonkers, like out of a Ren and Stimpy cartoon.
Yeah.
So but the way it did turn out was beautiful. Like, I was so impressed. You go to lunch and come back, and there's an ice cream truck made out of plywood.
Yeah.
And it looked like an ice cream truck.
Yeah, that's weird.
It was the weirdest thing I've ever seen.
Minnie Lee was especially the Master
Lee. They were
Lee,
missing fingers.
Yeah,
Master Lee had to, like, cut half his hand off.
I didn't look that hard.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
So, but Master Lee was the boss. He was a Sifu of the whole place and stuff. So he was a construction, what they call the.
And they were brothers, right?
Yeah. And so Minnie Lee is bigger.
Not
he's
supposed
baby
to have
brother.
2 kids.
No, back then they could. They were old enough that policy was instigated. My wife is a single child because of that policy and stuff, and now they're no longer doing it. So,
yeah.
But Minnie Lee was a younger brother and stuff, and he was the quiet one.
He was silent.
Pretty much, yeah. Very, very shy and stuff. But he would carve you anything out of wood.
Yeah.
And it was amazing, unbelievable.
Fast, too.
And then, so I showed him a sketch for Killjoy's throne and stuff.
Yeah.
And like a day later, it's built. It's like, oh my god, it was really cool.
It was really cool.
Know, and he just fucking whipped it out. And it's going, I wish I could steal him and stuff.
Yeah.
So, no, they had we were lucky that they had a lot of hands, some great craftsmanship. They built us a boxing ring.
Yeah.
Which was like with a big old thick, ropes and stuff. What I call a Popeye style boxing ring.
Yeah.
And some pretty good set stuff. Just on occasion we would be held back by miscommunication.
The walls would get painted over lunch the wrong color, and then they'd have to come back and repaint all the walls.
Yeah.
And then they would repaint a different set the wrong color, and it was that was the craziest thing.
Yeah, and it's just just communications with textures and stuff, which is like no, just I said no, but we need texture and stuff. So that was kind of hard to communicate and everything. But anyway, back to Killjoy 3. What happened with Killjoy 3 is actually it was the best performing movie they had.
Yeah, in Redbox.
Yes.
It blew up.
It blew up. It did. I'll just say it did better than Puppet Master.
It did. It put it out. It did. Numbers were way better.
So we got the opportunity to do number 2, and that's when we decided to go wackadoodle on.
Yeah.
So that was quickly got the feedback came back, which I kind of suspected. People liked Killjoy better than they liked everyone else. I was like, well, he's a fucking demon, so we can bring him back.
Yeah.
And his whole posse.
And Killjoy 4 might be my favorite full moon movie to date, maybe.
Oh,
I
awesome.
mean, I love the stuff from when I was a kid, but what Killjoy 4 was, it's my cousin Vinny in hell, with demon clowns. And
that's funny.
Yes. That's what it is.
Oh,
it's good. My cousin Vinny in hell with demon clowns. And I love that it is a horror show, but it's not a horror movie. It's not scary. It's funny. Yeah. It's witty. It's sexy. It's got everything. Yeah. Trent Hage's performance as Killjoy in that movie might be the pinnacle of him playing Killjoy for me. I think it was far superior, just because he owned it. He put those teeth in. At that time, it was the 3rd time he played him, and he was Killjoy. Yes. Like and we shot that one in L.A.
Yeah.
How many years after Killjoy 3 did we do part 4?
Like 2 years. I think it's been coming once every 2 years. We were doing it. So
it was, and we shot that quick in a very small space, but you digitally made that space so much larger, and like where the witch is in the middle of the floor, and you
that's right.
the pirate ship in the back and all that stuff.
Oh my God! Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So
We were
cool.
shooting small spaces, and then I would shrink it down, and then that's the first time I started to really do digital sets.
Yeah.
And expand, which is weird because
The
we're not doing
elevator
that.
stuff.
Yes, which is weird because we're not doing that now. But oh well. Anyway, on the current film, which I guess we'll probably touch on in a minute,
We're gonna get there.
Blade. But I did have the opportunity to do that, and we had a lot of fun. Kind of making this weird, larger world
Yeah.
for Killjoy, and so what was so most of Killjoy, which was weird, and I don't know how we pulled this off. It was not in our real world now. It's almost completely in a fantasy world.
Right, in part 4.
Yeah, in part 4, which was
And in part 3. I mean, they're in the mirror
Yes.
the whole time.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But we didn't have a studio at our disposal
In
in
part
part 4. So in a
right.
way, it was quite a feat. We did get a 2-day shooting at the old hospital. I keep on forgetting its name. Do you
Linda
remember?
Vista.
Linda Vista, which is an abandoned hospital, probably
Yeah.
full of toxic mold.
Oh, we've shot hundreds and hundreds of horror movies there.
Yes, and they keep on threatening to close it down, but it's
Make it apartments.
yeah, never happens. That's not happening yet. Probably because of toxic mold. That's my guess and stuff. So we had a couple sets there. I got a professional wrestler threatened to beat me up.
Oh yeah, Sin Bodhi. He's a.
No, Simbodi didn't.
Oh, okay. He didn't beat you up.
No.
He did bring a lot of the wrestlers into that. Was it Scorch the Clown?
No. It was another one. I forgot who it was and stuff. But someone else pissed him off. But he got mad at me then because I'm the director. And I had no idea.
So this really happened.
Yes.
Oh, they were really upset at you.
Well, it's because it's hard to get Tom Calloway to shoot in a different order than he believes we should shoot.
That's true.
And I had 40 professional wrestlers or something like that, which Al was a master stroke from Al to get that many people together to do these scenes. And Tom Calloway had to shoot all this other stuff out first. So here we are in the wee hours of the morning. A lot of them that are playing demons are half naked, and freezing and pissed off, waiting. And I'm thinking, saying, why don't we shoot them first? Because then the people we keep later are only like 7 actors or main actors who are already here for the ride.
Yeah.
And not all these people couldn't kick the shit out of me. So it was tough, but you cannot convince Tom to shoot out of a certain order. So anyway, Tom Calloway, not Tom Devlin.
Of course, I'll shoot out of any order as long as it looks good.
Yeah, exactly. So some people were pissed off at me. Anyway, so what's the rest of the story? I don't know what her point was. Here's her point. The point is that we pushed it. We made Killjoy the good guy, the protagonist. And we also decided to really try and take it to a different space, not the normal story. And so that was probably the most successful thing about it. So then when we made a Killjoy Psycho Circus, then it's like, fuck it, let's take him to space. Which wasn't really space until the final 20 minutes.
That's kind of always, when you go to space, it's
expensive.
You're going to get it for a little bit.
Yeah.
Or when it's Jason Takes Manhattan, you're going to spend the whole time on a boat and then be in Manhattan for 20 minutes.
Awesome. Yeah, okay,
it's
cool.
just the way it goes.
All right, that's not so bad. Okay, cool.
But Psycho Circus, Killjoy went to space. I wasn't involved so much on that one. It was.
But all your children were.
I sent a great crew of people to all do their first movie.
And they kicked ass.
It was Miranda Dudley, Felicia Gamella, Jeff Chang, Chris Arredondo, and I remember they got bed bugs and they were out of a hotel, and that's a common thread in full moon history, as we all know. And then, they kicked ass on that movie, and and that was a weird time for me. I have no idea why I wasn't there. I couldn't tell you. I have no idea why I didn't go to that movie.
I think you're just sick of it.
I think I was having a bad year.
Which is fine.
I had moved away from LA,
Yeah.
moved to Las Vegas. I was teaching. I had great students. I had a great job. And I just didn't want to go. I don't know why.
Yeah.
And I regret it. I really do. I wish I was there. I wish I was part of it.
Felt like you were there. actually.
You know?
Because you're students.
I called probably enough times that it felt like I was there.
I think that's...
Like, hey,
you phoned it in and still...
But at the same time, I was grumpy about reusing the molds. This was a third movie we used the same molds. I wanted to sculpt new stuff.
Yeah.
I wanted to update them. I wanted to make it better. And I think that's just what it was. I felt like we were striving for mediocrity, and then you guys pulled out this really cool movie. So I feel bad that I wasn't there.
But when I remember that film, to me, it always feels like you were there. In fact, a few moments ago, we were talking with Miranda about how hot it was in that studio, and I looked at you, and I kind of thought,
I don't know,
it wasn't that hot, was it? And, then I realized, oh well, no, he wasn't there, because it felt like you were. Anyway, so now, how do we do a smooth segue into our latest project?
So after Killjoy 5, we did a couple other things. We did Feast of Fear. And we'll jump past Feast of Fear.
Thank you.
We're gonna just skip over that one, and then,
which actually one thing. Feast of Fear was the first time I worked with Vince. Actually, what's the proper way to pronounce your last name?
Sexy.
Oh, Vince Sexy.
Cusimano.
Vincent Cusimano.
I just want to screw it up.
That's all right.
Cusimano.
So Vince Cusimano, who you guys will hear on another interview, he is a guy that I've worked with for years, and he's an old friend of mine, a roommate of mine. He was always around while we were doing our shenanigans, but he got a chance to be in the Feast of Fear as one of the monsters. And then later we show up and he gets this awesome part that we'll talk about in a minute.
Right.
But so before we jump into Blade,
yes,
because of you and bringing me on Killjoy 3, I got involved with Full Moon.
Yes.
And I came back for Evil Bong 3.
Yes.
And then we counted it out today. I've done 17 movies for Full Moon.
Wow, I didn't even realize that.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
I've done makeup effects for 17 different films, and actually 18 if you count some of the stuff that I like on Ooga Booga. I resculpted Karen Black's face and her eyeball removal because it needed a pickup shot, and Chris wasn't available to do it. Wow. So, but I've been involved with Full Moon now for about 10 years, and and it's been. 2010, did we do Killjoy? Or 2009?
2009.
Okay,
the
so
summer of 2009 is when we filmed it.
Okay, so 11 years.
Yeah.
We've been involved with the company. I've done 16 movies with them. And then we get this opportunity where Blade, I've done 2 Puppet Master movies at this point, which was my childhood dream. Yeah. And I never would have achieved that had I not worked for J.R. McGarity.
Exactly. Yes.
Had I not been conned by J.R. McGarity, I never would have done Puppet Master.
Yes.
Although I believe I would have.
Yes.
My favorite thing, the day that I met Charlie Band on Killjoy 3, when you brought me into the office, I go into the office, I'm in the Full Moon office, big posters, everything, the Houdini. I'm like, oh my God, this is Charles Band. This is where I've been fighting to be. I sit down at his desk and he goes, have we met? And I was like, no, we never met. He goes, you look really familiar. And I was like, that's just crazy. But it was because I had approached him at every show and every convention ever.
Yes.
And given him my resume and my cards and my flyer. I used to have a flyer with all my, I had this theory that nobody looks at a business card, so I'll make postcards with all my work on them with my name across the middle. And, that's good. I had done this all the time. And I swear he'd recognize me from those conventions. But at the same time, I said, no, I've never met you, sir, but I'm a big fan, And so jump ahead 11 years, and we get the opportunity to do Blade the Iron Cross, which is the spin-off of Puppet Master. And it's the first time a puppet gets its own movie. And it's for the Deadly 10.
Yes.
And how did you see? I mean, everybody wanted... Knowing that Charlie wasn't going to direct Blade, every Full Moon director wanted to do it.
Yeah.
How did you twist his arm in that direction?
Because I twisted his arm in that direction. That's basically it. So, so the Deadly 10 is brought up, and we did kick ass with the Killjoy movie. So he came to me with 2 movies first, and I won't mention them.
Oh,
the
come
names.
on, you can tell him. I know one of them's got to be Grim Rapper.
One of them was Grim Rapper, and I just look like, no, I just can't do it.
I've heard Grim Rapper has been in the works for the 11 years. When I did Evil Bong 3 for him, he said, next, we're doing Grim Rapper.
Wow.
And it's never taken off.
It's, that wouldn't be so hard to do, but, I just can't not do it.
Right.
Just culturally, I cannot do that.
I would be so stoked to do it if he got Violent J from ICP to play the Grim Rapper.
Well, yeah.
And I'm in.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Or Jamie Madrox from Twisted. I would do it if that was the case.
Yeah.
But he doesn't want that. He wants like Lil Wayne or something.
Yeah, and I just don't have. I cannot do it justice. Absolutely cannot do it justice. And then the other one was Ouija's and stuff, and I totally understand.
At the time, it was not Ouija's; it was Halloween Night.
Or Halloween Night,
but it has now shifted to Ouija's.
Yeah, which I think was smart.
Way better.
But to me, it's just just not my style and stuff. But Blade, yes, and the 2 reasons that I wanted to do it is because I know that he'd put more energy into Blade, and so I said, I proved myself with Killjoy, so I want that one. And I was just very straight. I wasn't like, well, what do you think? Are you pleased? I just said, no, I need to do Blade. You got to give me Blade. And he said, okay. I was like, okay.
It was that quick. Okay.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, because I was
That's
just
crazy.
really. Well, I'm I'm older now, and I have kids, and I'm like, I'm not screwing around. I need to do this. You know that I'll kill myself making this movie for you. If everything goes wrong, it's still going to. You're still going to have something. Yeah. Exactly. It'll show there. So I think that was part of it. What was the other part of it? There was something else to my point, but I forgot. We've been shooting over.
Well, you bent his arm. You bent his arm back.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, it wasn't too hard to bend his arm. Though. I just kind of went right into it.
So once you got the movie, was there already a script then? Were you ready to go?
No. So he didn't let me write this one, but I did do a lot of work on the script. So Roger Barron wrote the script.
And Roger Barron was responsible for 13 Ghosts.
Yeah.
And he was responsible. He wrote Ravenwolf Towers, which I was a part of, and I really like that dark tone of that. He's written a ton of stuff.
Yes. Yeah. So and the story was I forgot his name. We'll look it up later. But we have a creative consultant that's doing a lot of the Full Moon comic books.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
And
those comics are great.
Yeah, and so it was the guy responsible for that, and I just because I'm tired, I don't remember his name now.
Yeah.
Super cool guy and stuff. So he came up conceptually with a bunch of stuff, and Charlie liked it and says, "Okay, that sounds good." I had a little bit of input, and then we went to Roger. I talked to Roger Barron for a while and stuff, and then he came back with a script. Then I changed stuff, not to try and really just change Roger Barron's thing, but there's a problem of something that we can shoot in 6 days.
Yeah.
That's a big issue because yes, Roger Barron wrote these bigger films, and it's like, no, we just can't do this stuff. It's like I had to cut down on characters and situations, this, that, whatever and stuff. So no disrespect, it's just something that we can then shoot. I tried to keep as much of his dialogue in there as possible. But the one other thing I did do was I gave Eliza much more active character.
Yeah.
Though, because he kind of kept her the same character as in the last film, and I thought
a little too meek, a little.
Yeah, which was fine because we had it was her father, Dr. Ivanov.
Yeah.
That was the star of that film.
Yeah.
And stuff, but now she's a star, and she should be. I still have her. Yes. Tied up naked at the end. Yes, that's true. But she's not actually. She's still very active in her own rescue.
Yeah.
Through Blade and stuff. So I really.
Do you wish that you could have written the script?
I do.
Full out.
I do actually, and again, it's not that I don't want to collaborate with other people. I do, but when you're doing making movies that are under these such tight resources, it's easier just to start off with that in mind.
And maybe to be a little bit more familiar with everything because it came from your brain.
A little bit, yeah, because you have to wrangle a lot of stuff in your brain, and so it becomes a little bit tough trying to sometimes do concepts, and even then, Charlie read the script again, and he cut out even more pages because he's right. So it was a little bit too much dialogue.
Yeah,
it was a little bit too complicated and stuff. So again, people don't understand that micro-budget filmmaking, making films for this cheap, is actually a very highly specialized thing.
Very hard to do correctly.
It's very, very tough and stuff.
Yeah.
It's when you're working. So one of these days, I'd love to do a documentary. Or some people are kind of doing that. There's a documentary out called Micro Budget Giant Women, or Giant Women Micro Budget, which is about a mutual friend of ours called Jeff Leroy and stuff. It kind of shows off a little bit what micro budget filmmakers do. I'd love to do one that interviews or features more micro budget directors and other filmmakers and kind of what they need to do, because I see these people. So many.
There was a documentary that was made about me and my wife, and you're in it a little bit on the G4 network, and that is all about making indie low budget micro movies. Yeah, and it was featured, and it got a lot of response from people that were like, "Wow, I could do this too," but then the whole message was, "This is harder than it looks." So it's kind of funny. It's funny that the response it got from optimists.
It's interesting.
It's
like, oh, I could do this.
Yeah. Look at these guys. I could do this. But it's like, no. What we're saying is, and they left things out of the documentary. I was working on a movie that day that we were shooting in a used car lot. So we got there 2 hours early and used the set before the movie started with one of the cast members from said movie. So it was like, that's how we snuck in and got a cool location on Sunset Boulevard, because I didn't pay for it. I borrowed it from the show I was working on.
Right.
And that was cool. But they don't say any of that in that documentary. So there is definitely a documentary to be made about the specialty of breadcrumb filmmaking.
It's kind of like the punk rock of filmmaking.
Yeah, it really is. It really is.
It's where you don't have maybe the kind of production value, but you have this certain determination to do something.
Create.
Hollywood makes $10,000 doesn't get you to breakfast on a Hollywood film,
right,
and stuff, and basically. We could run for days on that. I've shot my first movie that I actually completed. We got we shot it for $6,500,
right?
And stuff. So it's like, there are ways, and even that pales in comparison to, I guess my mentor as far as micro budget films would be Vinny Belancho, who actually completed an entire film. It costs more in certain other ways, but his cash out was $800.
Yeah. We did the Trek for $5.
Oh, you did! Oh my God, you beat him! That's awesome. Okay, I have no longer any respect for Vinny.
Come on! Tons of respect.
Of course I do. Yes.
But back
that one was Killers Eroticus.
Oh yeah, I know that. I know.
Yes. Okay.
Killers Eroticus actually used to be repped by Plan 10 Pictures, owned by myself.
Yes. Okay.
But we'll jump back to Blade.
Blade. Yes.
So script's written. You're ready to go into production. We know where we're shooting. We know. You had to go into casting for some of the characters.
Yes.
How was the casting process? And the other weird thing about this movie, the whole thing was live streamed.
Yes, Deadly 10.
All live streamed. So we're following you and watching you do every bit of your insane job.
Yes. So casting was weird because all of a sudden it's being scrutinized by the final reads were being scrutinized by the world,
by the public,
by the public. And so I have.
And Puppet Master fans are crazy.
They are,
and crazy in a good way. And they love Puppet Master.
Yeah. So our female lead was basically continuation from the last one. So that's great. Eliza's cast. She said yes. So we had a male lead, and we got this guy that was perfect for it and stuff, and he made it all the way to the end and everything. And he was cast, the vid cast and everything. he is reading blew everyone away. And then he calls up right before we lock it in and says, I can't make it. I can't do it. I found this other gig that's a SAG, and I gotta take it from my insurance.
Wow.
Oh, okay. What kind of killed us was that, but why did you do this all with us when you knew you had a strong potential of getting this other gig? Because now we're in a little bit of a spot. However, one thing that happened was before then, I put someone else up for the part that we said, this is the funny part. I hear laughing in the background because he's in the room. It's like, well, he's too young and stuff. For this role is for a much older person and stuff.
Did you think he was too young, or did Charlie think he was too young?
Both of us.
Okay.
But I thought, I'm going to put him up anyway because he looks good now. So it's great. So I put him up and stuff and said, well, audition anyway. Send in your tape. Audition anyway. At least you'll get you'll get Charlie's eyes on you. So that's great. Okay. And so then when this happened, the guy who was perfect, Mr. Perfect, dropped out. Though then I said, well, how about Vince? Look at the tape and stuff. Even though he's much younger than the other guys, he's much better.
Yeah. Because he can actually act.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. So it's like serendipitously, because now, especially now I've known Vince for a while and stuff, and he's getting into his look. He's fucking looking awesome now and stuff. And she's, oh my God, he's got this look and stuff. So serendipitously, it happened, and he's in. So that was cool. The rest of the casting process was somewhat frustrating. We had a character called Gloria, supposed to be this sexy, hot Latina woman that has this crazy, sex scene with one of our victims, and we kept on casting for like someone who would just do the nudity and stuff, and it just never happened. Every time it's like, okay. By the way, do I have to be nude?
Which is crazy because in every full moon movie, there's something.
Yeah.
I don't even think of it as a big deal anymore.
Yeah, I don't know what happened in this situation because also in my movies, I usually have no problem getting naked.
Never, yeah.
And stuff, and people have actually asked me before. It's funny. This really talented English filmmaker took me out to breakfast one time when I was at a festival that both of our films were in and stuff, and this was way back with Blood Gnome. And he took me out for breakfast just to ask me, so how do you get them to get their kit off? How do you get naked? He says, well, two things. First of all, ask nicely. Yeah. And secondly, be upfront. It's like you'll find them. There are people out there who want to be exhibitionists. And so I've never really had a problem. Also, until this character and stuff. So that was just weird. It's like 3 people in a row. And so last moment, we got someone who still wouldn't take their clothes off, but is very talented and she looks great and stuff. So she kicked ass. So that was weird. But then the rest of the cast, I think, were very fortunate. I'm really...
some great-looking character actors. Bob Zoller, who was in... we did a Dead Want Women with her. I did.
Yes.
And he was great in that, and he got to come back as a zombie. I know he wanted to play Hauser. Oh, yes. God, did he want Hauser.
Yes.
But he got to make him into a cool, rotted zombie. That's one of the things I love about this Blade movie is when Blade's not on the screen, we do have zombies on the screen.
Yeah.
And the zombies aren't normal zombies. They're like experiments, so they're all weird and rotten and gooey.
The concept is weird.
Yeah.
The concept just doesn't make sense, but it doesn't. But you have a magic puppet running around killing people, so you just let that go.
Well, and not only that, it ties it into... I have always wanted to tie in the two worlds of Reanimator and Puppet Master. Both produced by Charles Band.
Yes.
And they both use a magic green serum to reanimate inanimate objects. And you even threw a line in there.
I did. And the line might not survive.
Oh, that's a bummer.
It is. Oh, because we had editing problems. Like, I think this one's dying. But so we'll say it. So we'll say it now. There's one point where the bad guy is trying to figure out what the elixir is and stuff, and they have a small sample, and the assistant proc, or basically the handler, says, oh, maybe I could send a sample to a young Swiss physician, Dr. Gruber.
Right.
And Hauser says, be my guest, whatever.
I think that was brilliant. I was nudging for it the whole time, but if it doesn't make the cut, it doesn't make the cut.
and just like, there's certain things that are good, which sound brilliant at the time, but then it's like, no, it's not working to edit, so that kind of sucks. But anyway, but we tried.
I had a moment like that on Poultrygeist where I have chicken nuggets eat my face, and I said, "Where the hell's the Toxic Avenger when you need him?" Because we were in Tromaville and he wasn't saving the day.
Did it make the cut?
No, they cut it out. I was
know.
like, come on.
Oh, geez.
But that happens. So, also making some, like you said, it's a magical puppet running around killing things, suspension of disbelief. Because it's the Blade movie and it's his own movie, I got this bright idea that I was going to redesign the puppet and make him about a size and a half larger. Yeah. And at the time, when I showed up on set with this big, bulky, badass, in my opinion, Blade, like, I got some looks from some of the Full Moon crew, like, what is it? Like, that's not Blade. But the crazy thing is, today, I had more people tell me, it doesn't even look bigger anymore. It doesn't look different anymore. And it is significantly larger. But I felt this is his solo movie. It's his own opportunity to shine. I wanted to make him a little bit larger, a little more foreboding, a little bit more human, kind of, like just real. And I love the new Blade. And I know he'll find mixed reviews, but in my opinion, it's standalone Blade, Yeah. And I think it's cool.
He's got to be bigger. I think it's weird because when you finally brought the bigger size to set and had him next to the smaller size, just the smaller size seemed too small automatically. Too small. And just going, no.
And it's very hard to puppeteer those small ones. Like the small ones, it's very hard to get fluid movement. Where with the larger ones, I can swoop in and get more fluid movement. And we made the Action Blade, which is like a punching nun version, and then we have the Robo Blade. I put so much into the puppets that I really, you're an easy person to please director-wise for me because you trust my ability. And you say, hey, that's your deal. You go do it. Yeah. And so that's why I love working with you or people like that because I hate having to prove myself to someone.
Yeah. Well, I learned that early on and stuff. But when you're collaborating with people, you have to just kind of let go and trust them and stuff. Because if you try and do everything yourself, it will drive you crazy. And I still drive myself crazy and stuff. Right. And everything, but it's your decisions artistically are correct, and I have to just go with it. Absolutely.
I remember one time on Feast of Fear, you admitted that to me, which was a funny thing because I didn't realize that it was so poignant. But I made a very pointy head on our pig, the pigster. Yeah. And you were like, "It can't be a cone head." I was like, "It won't be when there's hair on it." Yeah. You're like, "I don't want it to be a cone head," and I was like, "It'll be fine." Yeah. Yeah. And then. And this happened on Killjoy as well with the Mega Clown, and where it was like, it's the shape is wrong. And I was like, when the hair's on, it won't be. Yeah. Anyway, I showed up, and you're like, you're right. You were right. Yes. And that was cool.
Also, the thing is, truthfully, honestly, and still, I will probably forever still be a control freak. Yeah. And stuff. And I just got to give us up. Yeah.
So it's crazy we work well together because. And then on set, I'm constantly trying to defer to you, like, "Hey, John, you say what do you want?" But normally, I am a heavy control freak. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Oh, actually, that's funny. So we were shooting today, and we're trying to figure out this. It's always tough when you have blood and guts and whatever. And so it takes a while and stuff. And so at one point, it's like you said, "Guys, help me out here. How are we going to do this?" You're setting up this. The shot and I realized, I don't know, Howard looking at our DP going,
and he's like, I don't know, and I'm like, I don't know,
because now usually I think it's easier for me to work with Tom Devlin because it was for a lot of our stuff just you and me. Yeah, we knew exactly what we're going to do. In some ways, it's easier to work with Tom Calloway because he is so rigid. He'll tell you immediately
he'll
exactly.
He'll tell you yes or no. No, we're doing this.
Yeah, exactly. So it's very frustrating because it has to be his way.
As the camera guy. Tom Calloway is the camera guy.
Yeah, but he knows exactly. Tom Calloway, I'll say Calloway, but he knows exactly what the shot's going to be and stuff. So that's cool. So Howard has been doing some great work on this film. It looks like
the film looks beautiful.
Yeah, it looks great. But it's just much more relaxed and everything. So it was very funny today. I was like, oh shit, okay, then I guess I gotta really integrate this a little bit more and stuff. So we broke it down. I was like, okay, Tom Devlin, just show me what you'd like to do, and then I'll make a suggestion to Howard. That was the solution.
And it worked. I think we got some good stuff today.
It did. So. But I think it just kind of took just making active suggestions, because Tom Calloway always had a very he was already like knew what he was going to do, and then I tried to steer him away to something else.
Yeah.
And everything. But yeah, I'm excited about Blade. It's still a ton of work to do. We have tomorrow. So we're kind of wrapping this up, because what's happening is actually in a few minutes I need to go to bed.
Yeah. You gotta get some sleep.
Yes.
And
you're gonna interview.
Yeah. Then we're gonna talk to some more people.
Yes.
But the thing is the movie's almost done.
Yes.
It'll come out potentially in March, and hopefully to rave reviews. But I've seen it. It looks great. The acting's great.
A lot of great stuff.
I wish there was more puppets in it, but that's not more puppets plural, but more of Blade. Like, I wish every time an actor is doing something, Blade peers around a corner or looks out of a window.
Well, we're gonna do that tomorrow. We're gonna shoot.
But it's
we'll get it.
The thing is I only care about my part of it.
Yeah.
And when I look at the movie as a whole, the cast is great, and the actor is fluid, and the look of it looks expensive. And
it does. Anyway, but that's a big issue and stuff. And actually, one of the biggest compliments we got so far was from Billy Jett, who was a production designer who started off working on Puppet Master 3, which is probably known as when the Puppet Master got its defined look. Yeah. It was a David Dakota film, and it just felt...
And our DP, Howard Wexler, did that as well.
I didn't know he did number 3.
He DP'd part 3.
You know, that's weird. I did not know that until now.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's fantastic.
He was a camera assistant on part 2, and he DP'd part 3.
I did not know that. Yeah. That's so weird. Well, that's perfect. He didn't even tell me that. So, okay, I gotta ask him about it tomorrow.
Yeah, he'll tell you stories for days, too.
Okay.
Also, Howard Wexler, our DP, he shot some of my favorite movies ever, all the Andy Sidaris classics. Yeah. Malibu Express, Hard Ticket to Hawaii, the Savage Beach and Return to Savage Beach, all the Bikini Machine Gun movies with Julie Strain, and, good stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I was starstruck by Howard when I first met him a billion years ago, and we've worked together now a million times, and it's worn down. And but at the same time, I think Howard, like, I watched the footage last night, and I thought, he's making us a Puppet Master movie. Like, it's not. This isn't a phoned-in, cheap, low-budget movie with an inexperienced crew. Yeah. This is a bunch of people that really care about the genre and care about the franchise. Yeah. And we're about to make something that the fans will really enjoy, hopefully.
Billy Jett was so happy because he said it looks like a classic Puppet Master movie.
That's cool.
So far so good and stuff. And I've been kind of compliments back from the color on it. It just seems very vibrant.
Oh, it looks great.
Colorful and stuff. And
the performances are good.
Yeah. Sometimes a little bit over the top, but that's good for me.
Yeah.
That's fine. Because that is what it's about. There's a certain romance to these movies, and a certain lore.
Well, even part 3, there's some really over-the-top performances in that.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. This is that's part of what the fans expect. So far so good, and I'm excited to see. Also, the one other thing we have going for it is Richard Band is going to return to do the music as well.
That's very cool.
And stuff. So that'll tie. Although the thing is, what happens though is that I'm really, I think my job as a director is I'm pushing everyone.
Yeah.
Though, and I'm making Howard excited, but I'm pushing him as well.
Pushing his limits.
Yeah, totally. Sometimes it gives me funny looks.
But I said to him today.
Yeah.
I said to him, it's tough figuring it out on the fly, huh, Howard? Because like we're doing this. Yeah. And he looked at me and goes, but isn't that the fun part? And I thought,
Yeah. Well,
I don't have a snide remark to that. That was the best answer I could ever hear.
Yeah.
So from that, I'm going to say that we are doing the best we can with the time, money, and efforts that we have. And everybody look for Blade the Iron Cross, part of the Deadly 10. It'll be coming at you hopefully in March. And we'll see you at a convention sometime. Shake our hand. Tell us that you heard the podcast. Let us know that you loved it. And give you a t-shirt.
Yes.
All right, man.
Exactly. Buy a t-shirt.
I'm Tom Devlin. This is John Lechago. I'm from Midnight at the Monster Museum. Oh, producer Wally's in the room too. And we will see you next time.